Welcome to Echoes from the Basement, an X-Files podcast. I'm your host, Alice, and each week I revisit a classic episode of The X-Files while sharing my take on the strange and mysterious adventures of Agent Scully and Mulder. And who knows, I might even make a believer out of you. Hey everybody, it's Alice again. I'm just podcasting in my PJs, just a late night episode. It's me and Abigail. We're just deciding to record this late at night because I had too much fun at a friend's house. My friend and I ended up making s'mores and just watching a lot of reality TV. The episode we're doing is number 5. It's the Jersey Devil. I also wanted to talk about I released a mini X-Files series. It will come out every other Friday. And it will contain just different cases that are paranormal or alien themed that kind of relates to X-Files. And I hope you guys like it. Now back to the Jersey Devil. I wanted to give some context about the myth behind it. I got my info from Jersey Devil Fact or Fiction from the Atlantic County, New Jersey article. I'll tag the website in the description. The lore of the Jersey Devil starts on a dark and stormy night at Leeds Point. A child was born to a Quaker mother. Legend has it that the mother could have been a sorceress and her name was Mother Leeds. Some believe that the child was cursed and ended up deformed. Others say that the child grew up and became deformed. He had an elongated body, wide shoulders, and a wide horse head with cloven feet and a thick tail. One day, the child escaped, and the legend of the Jersey Devil was born. Now, with this context, let's get into the episode. The episode starts outside New Jersey, specifically Atlantic City. We see an older car with the family singing a song inside of it. While the family was driving, they hear a loud noise, presumably a flat tire. Good old dad goes out there and tries to fix it, his flashlight nicely seated on the ground, while he's just working on the tire and working to replace it. He gets up, decides to go to the mother's side door, and says, "Can you?" Stops right there as he is dragged away by something into the night. His wife runs outside with a flashlight searching for her husband, but finds nothing. Instead, something finds her. We can see this by the point of view that is given. Something is stalking her. The police and search dogs are called to find the father. They find him in the woods with his leg eaten cleaned off. The police turn their attention to a dark cave nearby, where they say that they saw something. It's as big as a house. They decide to smoke it out. All the police fire into the cave where the episode ends at the middle of the night. Sorry. Basically, it ends there. That's insanely spooky. We don't know what's in the cave or what happened to whoever ate that man. Now we're back at the FBI headquarters. We flash forward to Scully arriving at the office, probably thinking that this day will be like any other day. She travels downstairs into the basement, just probably imagining and hoping that she's gonna have a normal day, but not with Mulder. It's kind of like the Magic School Bus episodes, where each day is a different adventure and it could just never be like a normal class day with Mulder. Mulder's reading the magazine and they start talking about the case in New Jersey. Local police have found a body with a missing right arm and shoulder. The thing is, though, the body's appendages weren't sawed off, they were eaten off. Mulder suggests, of course, that it's something paranormal and unexplainable, but Scully believes that maybe the person was just normal. Sorry, my cats are playing at the door. Of course, they have their difference of opinion, but Mulder decides to pull out an X-File. It's the Jersey Devil. Scully is, of course, unimpressed, as per usual. Mulder states the 1948 case that we saw at the beginning of the man going missing and having part of his appendage eaten, and the police firing into the cave. She, Scully, believes that the Jersey Devil is just a folk tale. But Mulder says, I also heard this story growing up and I think it's real. Because of course he would. He always thinks every folktale is real. At least some truth behind it. I think that is actually how folktales work. There's some truth or meaning within it. Mulder says something cannibalized that body, and it was hungry that day. Now, we're flash forward to the Atlantic morgue. Scully humors Mulder and takes a ride to New Jersey with him. She examines this body of adult male and sees that there are human teeth marks within the flesh. So something clearly is eating this guy. The morgue autopsy person, what are they called? Not mortician. I'm not too sure. I'll say the doctor states that the park ranger found the body. We then have a local detective walk in, Detective Thompson, and he says nobody's getting involved in this case. It's just the local police. Mulder says, well, we're just unofficially here. We just wanted to check out the body. Detective Johnson says, nope, we didn't call for you. You're not allowed here. Get lost. Get scat. Mulder tries to smooth the detective over, but it doesn't really work, and they both walk out defeated, aka Scully and Mulder. They talk about how much that guy was a jerk, which I kind of also agree. The FBI is trying to help you. Why wouldn't you accept your help? So now we're outside the local police station. Scully and Mulder discuss the investigation a little bit more. And they want to stay. Well, really, Mulder does, because of course he does. He wants to look into this case a little bit more. He's like, let's get a hotel. Maybe we gamble a little bit, Scully. We have the best night of our lives. And Scully just, no, my godson is having a birthday party, so I need to be there for that. Honestly, if it was me, I probably would have stayed in the hotel and investigated the case more. It just seems like it's a much better time than going to a child's birthday party. Mulder says, alright, fine. He literally throws the keys at Scully and said, alright, get lost. And then they both go their separate ways. He doesn't really say that, but he's like, here's the keys, take the car. Scully's like, it's a 3-hour drive back to Washington. What the hell, Mulder? And he's just like, I just do me. And that's what I really like about Mulder. He just literally does his own thing. He gives no F's about anything, anyone. He's like, I do me, you do you. So now we're inside the motel, and Agent Mulder is calling somebody on the phone. He's using a payphone and the yellow pages to call the park ranger. Do you guys remember the yellow pages and the phone book? Or, I'm sorry, in the payphone? I remember the use of the yellow books because I think they still had them around when I was growing up. I never got the opportunity to use a payphone, even though I've seen some around, but I'm unsure if they work. Do you guys have payphones in your area, or do you still use the yellow books? I feel like it's obsolete now because of the fact that we have the internet. The park ranger and Mulder decide that they want to meet up, and they meet up in the forest. Park ranger kind of gives us this vague and creepy response of he's seen all kinds of weird things in the forest, but nothing like, the body that was found. He said he found human poop in the woods that was kind of covered, like how cats bury their poop. So Mulder and the park ranger talk some more. They found out the last victim was a homeless man. The park ranger states that the homeless stay out of the woods after dark. Mulder says, why would they do that? That's so weird. The park ranger says they are afraid of the Jersey Devil. The park ranger also talks about, 4 years ago, the park ranger saw a large man come out of the forest with no clothes on, sniffed the air, and sensed that the park ranger was looking at him. Just kind of like how dogs sniff the air and can sense people's presence, I guess. I think that was happening in that moment. The park ranger also discusses how he saw a rabbit that was eaten, and he said he saw somebody's human tooth in it, and that deer bones that were lying around were fashioned into tools. So somebody carved them into usable tools. He also gives his vague response to Mulder about how he doesn't come out here without a weapon. So he's insinuating that it's dangerous to come out here and he wouldn't be caught dead out here in the middle of the night. So my question is to everybody, is there really a Jersey Devil then? What does everybody say? Would you go out into these woods at night and search for it? I'm not too sure. Personally, I wouldn't. One, I don't have a good sense of direction. I get lost very easily, especially in a time where there is no GPS. Number two, I don't think I would enjoy going out into the forest, period, knowing that there was some sort of danger in there. Number three, especially if I heard somebody was murdered in the woods, I would severely nope out of that. I mean, I'd like to hike, but not at night because I feel like it's dangerous. And number two, I just wouldn't want to be there. I don't even like being by myself. So it's a no for me. We flash forward to Scully at her godson's birthday party. You see all these kids running around. I would hate that. Even though I like kids. It's just, that would be a lot. You can kind of see that Scully's got her anxiety phase on. Scully and her friend, the mom of the godson, are talking about having children, how Scully feels that she's not ready for it yet, and she doesn't even have a boyfriend, so how could she have a kid? The friend brings up the fact that Scully has talked about Mulder and said that he's like really cute, but Scully says he's too obsessed with work. I could never date a coworker. What do you think? Would you guys date Mulder? Personally, I would. I date Mr. Spooky. A man, his name is Rob, comes to pick up his kid and then eventually asks Scully out. He has taken a liking to her. We then go to the other scene of Mulder walking into the forest by himself on the outskirts of Atlantic City. I'm not too sure why he would do it. He is a brave man. So after the terrifying talk that the park ranger gives to Mulder about seeing people in the woods and always having his weapon on him because it's dangerous, Mulder decides to walk through the forest alone by himself, because that's what we always do in X-Files. We do everything by ourselves. Something is peeking through the leaves and tracking him. We can kind of see it from the audience perspective that something is looking at him. He walks out of the forest and he runs down an area he goes to an area where a lot of the homeless people stay. It's kind of like some abandoned buildings. He asks around about Roger Crockett. That is a man that was in the morgue that had some of his appendages eaten off. Nobody's answering Mulder. They are basically keeping their mouths shut, the other homeless people. Mulder's like, do you guys even care that he was murdered? Did anybody know him? One man gets up and says, I knew him, and if you give me some money, I'll show you what killed the guy. The homeless man takes Mulder into this alleyway, which is presumably his home, because he says it in the show. The homeless man is given his money from Mulder, and he takes out a picture of just a large woman or Bigfoot. I'm not too sure what it was. It's not the Jersey Devil. It's like Bigfoot lady, I guess. Mulder says, where did you find this? Are you pulling my chain? Like, what is this? You're just messing with me. The homeless man says, no, I found it in a coat pocket. And I've also seen the person that has been drawn. So the homeless man has seen this creature, monster, Lady Bigfoot. I'm not too sure. It's like this weird drawing of somebody who's just too tall. Mulder says, well, why didn't you guys go to the cops if you're afraid? The man implies that the cops are trying to cover it all up, so why would they go to them? Mulder, being the smarty pants he is, says, well, where are you staying tonight? And the homeless man says, oh, I'm staying here. We're basically staying at my house. Mulder says, nah, you're taking my hotel room, and I'm gonna stay here. I want to see who this creature or thing is. Maybe it's Lady Bigfoot, maybe it's the Jersey Devil. I'm not too sure. Now it's nighttime in the alleyway. Mulder is trying to sleep. You can see him with his blanket. But all of a sudden, he hears some rustling, and of course, that's our cue to follow. Mulder silently follows the noise and approaches a creature rifling through the trash can. We can't really make it out of what it is, if it's beast, if it's a creature, if it's a person. Mulder kind of thinks it's a silhouette of a person, but again, it's dark, we're not too sure. The creature sniffs the air and takes off. The creature has smelled Mulder and said, I'm getting out of here. Mulder tries to follow it on foot, but it is too fast. It's outrunning him. The cops get a hold of Mulder while he's on his own pursuit, and they arrest Mulder. Mulder says, well, there's a man on the roof. Look. And the cops are like, nah, you're crazy. We're gonna take you down to the police station. At the police station, the detective from earlier comes in and says, Mulder, we didn't ask you to be here. You need to get out. Mulder says, well, you are obstructing justice. You were withholding information from us earlier. The Jersey Devil is real and it's taking homeless people. You're just ignoring these people and they want help. You're just doing a huge cover-up so you can keep tourism alive in this town. What are you gonna do when a tourist person dies? The blame will be on you. Isn't that why you have patrols out? You are trying to take precautions, basically. The detective says, I don't believe you. and throws him into a cell for the night to cool down. Mulder's stuck in this cell because he was talking about the Jersey Devil. Even though he does make some good points that these homeless people are going missing and the local police aren't doing anything about it, which is entirely messed up. They just really care about becoming a tourist attraction. Well, they are, and keeping the money coming in. We're at FBI HQ now, where Mulder has to call Scully to bail him out, which I find it very funny. Scully and Mulder get to a diner and they talk about what Mulder saw. He describes some sort of creature that moved like a cat, quietly, very, what's the word? I don't know. Flexibility, I guess. Flexible. It just ran too quick. It escaped him. Scully, of course, says, that's not true. What could possibly move that fast? Also, what if the FBI finds out what you're doing? Mulder, of course, says, I don't care. I don't care if they know. Because you know why? He's always looking for the truth and nothing gets in his way. Mulder says, whatever it was searching for food, it was scavenging. I saw it. Scully again doesn't believe him because of course she doesn't. I don't know how many episodes we're into now where she doesn't believe anything. I think you could turn a drinking game into this where you drink to how many times. Scully says she doesn't believe Mulder. Well, Scully says, that's a great story, but I got a date. See ya. We're done here. Scully says, I have a life. You probably should get one, Mulder. Got him. I understand Scully wants to have her own life and date around, but I think that would be really hard with being a part of the FBI. That's a full-time job whether you are on or off, but I understand. She wants to live. Let her live. We're at the University of Maryland now where Scully and Mulder talk to the professor there. They talk about, well, what if there's something more out there that's above the human on the food chain? What if it's something so primitive that, it would kill us to eat us? It would kill others to survive as well. Well, the professor says we are on top of the food chain. There is nothing above us that would pretty much be impossible just because of our intelligence level, our skills, things like that. If there was a predator like that, it would have to survive decades. So, for instance, it would have to survive through the Civil War, it would have to survive through revolution, it would have to survive through civil rights, all the way up to the 90s, and that's pretty much impossible. So, there are nothing above us in the food chain, nothing can take us down. Humans are the ultimate predator. That's what the professor sums up. We're back at the HBI. The FBI HQ, where Mulder is flipping through some pictures of the case, the original X-Files case, and this picture of this gorilla ape lady comes up, and it keeps making me laugh that there's this weird picture of a lady that's just way too tall and just kind of looks like Bigfoot. So I feel like there's just no Jersey Devil, but we'll see. Meanwhile, Scully is enjoying her date, but it doesn't seem like she is enjoying the conversation. Rob, her date, just keeps talking about kids, having kids, raising kids. He's kind of condescending to her, like, well, you understand when you have kids of your own. What if Scully doesn't want kids? What if she just is interested in you? Anyway, I think it's annoying that he talks about his kids the whole time. Mulder pages her and is like, give me a call. I have some news. Mulder received a phone call from the park ranger. He said another body is found / eaten. It could be your devil. Mulder gets a hold of Scully. They talk about it. She goes back to New Jersey and Mulder goes back to New Jersey. Now, Scully and Mulder are back at the New Jersey morgue, but there's no body. So the recent victim, gone. Don't know where it is. The local police are trying to cover this all up. That's why they took the body. It could be a publicity scandal. For a town that runs on tourism, having people eaten doesn't drive people to come back in. Mulder said that exactly. So Scully and Mulder want to capture the creature alive and basically save it. The police want to kill it because they see it as some sort of liability. So now we're back to the area where the old buildings, rundown buildings are, where the homeless people live. So Scully, Mulder, the professor, and the park ranger drive to this area. They're looking for the creature. I'm going to refer to them as the team because I don't want to say everybody's name. So the professor finds a bloody rag and says, the creature could be eating here, it could be injured, we have to find this creature, person, etc. The SWAT team is also outside because they're looking for Mulder because they need to stop all of this. They don't want the truth uncovered. The team is looking around some more. Mulder says, well, what if this is a person? It's a woman. It's just like us, but just in a primitive state. Scully says, no, we're humans. We build spacecrafts, we build computers. How could that be possible that someone has stayed in this primitive state the whole time? Meanwhile, the SWAT team is surrounding the building. They're gearing up. They're looking for, I'm going to refer to her as the forest lady, because I think that really represents her more than creature. Mulder hears some footsteps and finds the forest lady. She resembles the drawing, but not really, because she's not super tall and doesn't look like Bigfoot, which I find very funny. She jumps out the window to evade Mulder, and honestly, she just looks like another human being. She's just naked and a little bit dirty. So Mulder and the forest lady kind of travel through other buildings until the forest lady ambushes him and slashes his chest. She runs towards the forest when Scully comes, and Mulder says, she didn't want to harm me. She knew I was going to save her. And Scully said, or she just didn't have enough time to rip out your lungs. Either way, to each her own, I guess. Mulder gets patched up and sees the detective from earlier again. They exchange some words, but they're both after the same thing. They want the forest lady alive or really dead. That's what the police want. So the team go after this lady. Mulder figures out that the lady could also have offspring. What if she has kids? He thinks that her mate died and now she's just kind of foraging and being the protector because her mate, which would have been the male, is dead. They end up finding her, the team, and they try to sedate her with a dart gun, but she doesn't go down. Here's kind of like the sad part of it all. They hear more gunshots and they follow the noise. They find a crowd of police officers surrounding the lady, and sadly, she's dead. Mulder asks the detective, why did you have to do this? You didn't have to kill her. We could have helped her. The detective says, well, it's just like a rabid animal. You have to put it down. Which I disagree with. I think they could have saved her. I don't think she was any threat. She was just trying to protect herself and the babies and just survive. Back at the FBI headquarters, Scully tells Mulder that the autopsy was done on the woman from the forest. There are bones in her digestive tract, but her genetics say that she's not from a primitive time. But get this, Scully said her autopsy did suggest that she did have offspring at one point. Mulder says, well, that's great. I'm gonna go to the Smithsonian Museum to talk to somebody about the lady. They want to know some more info about her. Scully says, well, I'm not going with you. I got a date. I'll see you later. But I think it's really cute because Scully follows Mulder and says, you know what? I will join you. You know why? Because Rob was really freaking boring. That's why. And you just want to talk about his kid the whole time. Now back at the forest, we see a father and son hiking, and he's starting to share the father the story about the Jersey Devil, blah blah blah. We get a close-up of the lady from the forest. Her offspring appears. And that is the end of the episode. My thoughts and questions. Do you think that the police should have killed the forest lady? Or do you think that they should have protected her because she's just doing what every animal does, just trying to survive? I feel really conflicted in this episode because I get it. The lady of the forest could have been some sort of danger. Oh my gosh, there's a huge spider in my room. Sorry. She could have been a danger, but I don't think she was. She was just trying to survive and protect herself like we would have done as well. I also like the drawings of Bigfoot lady, a lady ape. I'm unsure what it was supposed to be. It literally did not look like the lady from the forest. I think people just exaggerated. She was just a regular sized woman who was just naked and a little bit dirty. But at the end of the day, I think it's really cute that Scully chose Mulder in the end. I think she's got a crush on him. I can't wait to see how it develops. Well, I know how it develops. I like to share it with everybody. That's all for today for this little midnight podcast. Thanks for listening, all you truth seekers, abductees, and X-Files enthusiasts. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the show. And remember, the truth is out there. You just have to find it.